and I am the owner and founder of Butter Angel's Handcrafted Skincare. I handcraft natural vegan skincare made with exotic ingredients from around the world. I make body butters, lotion bars, body oils, facial serums, and lip moisturizers. My mission is to enhance the beauty of powerful women with quality skincare, encouraging messaging, inspirational stories, and powerful imagery. I acknowledge that your goal comes from within. I just want to enhance it. Today, I have the pleasure of having retired Master Sergeant Sandra Brownlee with us. And she's going to enhance our worldview of how service members, retired or still serving, are being served in Georgia. She is the CEO of Discovering a Soldier's Potential 2 Incorporated, and she is the owner of Waypoint Griffin Veteran Resource Center. You guys need to listen up because her resource center has some of everything. It's a one-stop shop. And she's going to tell us about all of the things that her organizations offer and what you can gain from it and how you can help get the word out there and help other veterans through her organization. Thank you so much, Sandra, for joining us today. How are you?
Rolanda, with an entrance like that, I think I need to take you everywhere I go.
Well,
I just needed that you just do what you do. That was awesome.
Thank you.
So thank you for inviting me to your show. I'm honored. Number one, I'm humbled. Number two, I'm just trying to do what I think is right, and I didn't know that it would bring so much notoriety just doing the right thing. But after having served for 27 years in the United States Army, it's kind of second nature for me to take care of soldiers. Kind of what I did and what I do now. I was born and raised in a small town called LaGrange, Georgia, out of a small little southern town. And as we all know, 80% of our veterans who join from small towns. So joining the military, to me, it wasn't like I had an unctioning. It wasn't like I had a family history of military vets. It was just something that I was called to do, and actually called so much so that I joined actually a year early. I joined while I was still in high school, believe it or not, and not having any history of military in my family, it was kind of odd for my family to understand and comprehend.
Yeah.
But I did, and at the age of, young age of 18 years old, I left my little small town in Georgia, and I went to Fort Jackson, South Carolina for basic training. But I just want to throw a little piece in there, Rolanda, that I remember the day so clearly at the MEP station when we were taken into that small room and had the United States flag and the seal, and we raised our hand and said that we would support and defend this country against enemies, all foreign and domestic. My biggest thing about that day to me was I don't even know these people standing next to me, never met them, just saw them in physical, and now we're raising our hand in unison saying, we will defend this country. That was a really powerful moment for me. And being raised a Southern girl, I knew that if I'm going to do something, as my parents, if you're going to do it well.
Yes.
And that was my beginning.
Absolutely. And I remember my day of going to MEPS too. It's honestly a lot of, there's a lot of military that like comes in blurbs. And then there's certain parts of my career that I remember vividly. MEPS was one of them, but swearing in, I can't remember all the words, but I remember my heart beating out of my chest. Like I thought I was going to pass out. It was so monumentous. I was by myself with my little recruiter and a couple of other kids. And it's just a huge commitment. You're like 16 or 17 years old. You don't really know anything. You don't know how big of a commitment you're making. You just know that you're going to go into this big organization and you're going to become something bigger. And yeah,
you're absolutely right.
It's a huge moment, and I think his life.
Yes, I remember the day that when I got to basic training, my drill sergeant, I'll never forget him. His favorite song was "A Yellow Bird," so we sang that everywhere we marched. But he said to me, he said, "Listen, I'm going to share something with you all. I know that you don't know me, you don't know the person standing next to you, but you joined because you know your family, your hometown, the people you grew up with, and that's where you have to focus on why you joined. Because you don't know everyone, but if we all focus on our individual piece of the world that we chose to protect, then we protect the whole country. And I thought that was very profound.
Yes.
And from that point forth, I said I would dedicate myself 100% to doing this well.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Good for him for pointing that out. Because it's really it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to take in. So he did a great job by putting it in perspective. So tell us more. Tell us how you got onto this journey of nonprofit organizations and really digging deep to help veterans.
Well, while I served in the military, we all know our mission when we're in the military. You know exactly what you're going to do every single day. You know what your purpose in life is, and you do it well. That's the whole point of taking so few and doing so much, is because we do it very well. And so while serving, I was, that was my goal, not only for me, but any soldier that worked for me, under me, around me, was we have to do this well. So I was very fortunate to have some really great assignments in the military. Most people wouldn't call them great, but I did, believe it or not. I got an opportunity to go to airborne school and air assault school and flight medic and expert field medical badge. And I just did some really great things in the military. And because of that, I got some really great assignments, Rolanda, like Fort Campbell, Fort Bragg, Fort Hood. I hope you know that I'm being facetious about this.
Wow.
Fort Campbell. Let's keep going. Korea. I was in Europe for a couple of tours, but I think going to Desert Storm and then going to Bosnia, twice, and serving in these combat zones. And as a combat medic, my background is in the medical field, so I really felt that it was something that I had to do, was keep folks alive. That was my focus. So being assigned to those combat units, you saw firsthand how important someone in the medical field were for those guys who are in those forward observing those front lines and can't get to the back where the hospital is. So they depend on those medics to take care of them. And in the process of doing that, I earned a good reputation for being a very good medic and a very good NCO. And so because of that, I was selected at Fort Hood by the installation commander to be the first female to become a medical IG. It had never been done, and they had to actually take me out of my MOS and get approved through the Department of Defense for me to act in the role of, believe it or not, 11 Bravo slot in the IG office.
Well, okay.
Yes, pretty cool. But the installation commander on Fort Hood was adamant about it because 33% of that installation was all medical. So he needed good oversight. So to have attended that gentleman's course, the IG's course, and then to come back to someone major like Fort Hood, Texas, 13th COSCOM, to be an IG under the medical coverage, really, really set a stage for me. Because as you know, as the IG, the whole purpose of it is because folks come to you because they want the right.
Yes.
So you have to know what you're talking about. You have to know what you're doing. And one of the biggest pieces was, believe it or not, med board oversight, med board review, medical issues of that nature. So I became well versed in that field. So when I got my last duty assignment, and they were nice to me, Rolanda, in the end, they gave me Fort McPherson. So my last duty assignment was Fort McPherson as the chief medical at Lawrence Joe Army Health Clinic. And from there is where I started establishing myself in the community of Georgia, getting to know the folks. But I also, believe it or not, started receiving numerous phone calls from veterans who were out of the service, who knew me from past history and needed help with their claim or needed help with their medical or needed help with just figuring out what to do next. So I'm still active duty. I'm thinking, well, how difficult can this be? I mean, there's tons of services everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so I thought. So when I retired, I had no concerns about transitional needs or getting what I needed because the Army had done so well of taking care of me. I just assumed everyone would. That assumption did not end well. And what I realized was, coming out of the military will spare no expense to make sure that you're the best soldier that you can be.
Yes.
Best schooling, best equipment, They will spare no expense to do that. The downfall comes when it's time for you to transition and you decide that you want to leave the service. Your tour duty's up, you're retiring. However, you decide that it's now time for you to end this tenure. The
Mm-hmm.
problem begins, and there's great resources on installation. There's Soldier for Life centers on installation. There's all kinds of transitional needs on installation. Uh, the small problem with that, if you know anything about command, and I know that you do, is that the mission comes first.
Yes,
So
always.
the mission is going to always trump anything else that's needed. So if you are getting out of the military, you're not a priority to the mission at this point.
Yeah.
So when you go to your transitional services, you do the protocol like everyone else does because you're really ready to go home now.
Yeah.
What you don't realize is that once you leave installation, if you're not retired, it's hard pressed to get back on installation for those services.
Mm-hmm.
So when I retired, I'm thinking I'm retiring. I'll be great. I can go out here, do what I want to do, not do what I want to do. Not that simple. It's not that easy. My intentions were to go back to Georgia, my small town, make a change in the community based on my skill set.
Mm-hmm.
But when you come to those small rural communities, there aren't veteran services available like there should be.
Mm-hmm.
All VA services only service metro areas. So to get a small town girl like me to bring services into a small town, we're pretty hard pressed because that's just not an area where they communicate.
Okay.
Um, that's when I realized I started getting phone calls, and I never really stopped, but even more so when I retired, people were calling me saying I need help. So believe it or not, about 2 years ago, I started my first visit with my first veteran in a local Dunkin' Donuts. Yes, so that was my very first office with a local Dunkin' Donuts. And I tell people all the time, hey, it's the coolest place. They don't bother you. They have free Wi-Fi. The coffee's not half bad. And
Well,
you
you
can
got to
take care of
start
things. You can take
somewhere.
Exactly.
Entrepreneurs,
So
like, you get caught up in like perfection paralysis, and you're like, oh, it's got to be perfect. I need a big office, but you know what? You're proof that you have to start somewhere. So if it's a Dunkin' Donuts
absolutely,
and it's serving your client, then Dunkin' Donuts it is.
mission accomplished. Because I was helping so many veterans, just getting appointments to the VA, finding out questions, answering questions, just with the medical background that I had and the skill sets that I had, I was able to do that. And I was in the Dunkin' Donuts in Griffin, Georgia,
Mhm.
and a master sergeant came in. He's a retired master sergeant. He was in there. He had brought a veteran to see me. I didn't know him, but I knew the veteran was coming to meet me there. He came as well. He was explaining to me that what I was doing was so important, that there were so many veterans in the community that needed assistance. And I said, okay, well, what do we do? He says, I want you to meet my wife. She's a county commissioner, and I want you to just share with her what you're doing. So I met with her and I talked about everything I was doing. And she said, well, listen, you helping veterans get those needs taken care of, getting them off the street, finding them housing is exactly what we need in any community. So she invited me to a commissioner's meeting. I presented myself to the commissioner's meeting. I explained them my concept, which is, and I'll share with you when I tell you about the center. But the concept was to bring multiple services into one place so that we don't have this stressor of trying to figure out how to take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
So they offered me a building in the community. Now, here's the coolest part about this building, Rolande. Number one is it's the most historical building in the town. It's the old county jail. It was actually built by Doc Holliday. You know, the
Uh-huh. Yeah.
sheriff, Doc Holliday, Billy the Kid.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay.
He and his dad built this building. The old jail is still there, intact upstairs.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful building. And oh, by the way, they film The Walking Dead there every 6 months or so.
Oh, okay.
So cool building. You should see it. We've done some really great job of just turning it into. We didn't want the concept of having a sterile office with chairs and waiting rooms and things like that. So it sort of looked like a mini museum.
Mhm.
So when you come into the building, veterans who we service will bring in memorabilia. They'll bring in their uniforms. They want us to display them. So we sort of made a mini museum in the waiting area. So it's pretty cool. You can come, you can chill out, you can sit there, you get your services taken care of. Our grand opening on this service center was July 18th of last year. The whole purpose of opening the center was to provide multiple services under one roof to decrease the stressors that causes PTSD, which of course we know is because of lack of knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
and also to be able to have a place where veterans can come and just know that this is where someone is going to take care of their needs. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
and by the way, it's a rural area, so there aren't any services here. But number two, these veterans know that when they come there, our job is to take care of them, and we do not charge a dime for the assistance that we give them. So on July 18th, we opened our very first Veteran Service Center in Griffin, Georgia. We
Mm-hmm.
call our Veteran Service Centers Waypoint. If
Mm-hmm.
you look at the emblem, you'll see that it has a compass on it. For every center we open, the compass will give the grid coordinates to that location. So I thought that was pretty cool. That it's sort
Yeah.
of a waypoint for you to find your way. You know, there's always a safe zone in
Uh-huh.
any conflict, and that's what we call our waypoints, our safe zones. We've been open in Griffin now for about 15 months, and in that 15 months, Rolanda, we have seen over 1,983 veterans. We have done over 900 VA claims and benefits. We've housed 17 veterans in the community. We've gotten 11 veterans jobs, and we've paid many of light bills and rents and car payments just through partnership agreements with folks who see the need for what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell you that this rural community, this little town, which is such an awesome veteran friendly town, really embraced us and brought in the services that we need and the assistance that we needed, even funding, and Home Depot helped decorate the building and put in the carpeting, and all the donations and things that we have in the center are all work done by the community and folks who really see the need for what we're doing. Now, we'll tell you, it wasn't easy getting to that point. I didn't share all the stuff. I remember the first day that I spoke to the community about what we were intending to do. I got a phone call from a gentleman who was very adamant about coming into town and riling up people and getting veterans upset, and there's no need for me to be there because all the veterans there are hat wearing proud veterans and I'm causing a disturbance. And so you get that kind of backlash, and
Mm-hmm.
the response is, I understand how you feel. I do know that you're a proud hat wearing veteran, but there are those out there who don't wear their head because they just don't know what they're entitled to. And my job is to make sure that they know what they're entitled to, regardless of the era that they serve. And
Well,
we've seen veterans from World War II to present day Afghan.
so I want to back up a little bit about the proud veteran part. And I think
Okay.
important that the audience understand this. One thing that, and I think we can all attest to this, that when you're in the military, you though there's resources out for us, we're kind of discouraged from taking them because you lean on your squad, you lean on your platoon leader, and you don't want to make
Right.
your platoon and your squad look bad by reaching out further. Like your group
Sure.
couldn't help you. So for those of you guys out there who are shy about reaching out and getting help outside of the VA, because we all know we can go to the VA, but you're shy of getting help from with your light bill, or you're shy about getting help with resume writing and such, don't be. Because if you lean too much on your pride, pride will leave you hungry. And we don't want that. We don't want you to be hungry and homeless and without assistance. Waypoint is here to to help you navigate your transition and your new life. And yes, the transition can take years to get through. Um, so to have Waypoint in your small town, um, it's a gift. So you can still be proud and you can still be, strong and independent and still go to an organization like Waypoint and get your needs met because they're here um, to help you to fill in some of the blanks that other people don't understand you need to have filled. It's totally okay to ask and it's totally okay to receive. You've earned this. You 110% earned this.
You're absolutely right. And here's the other part about that too. Everything you just said is absolutely correct. Because I've serviced veterans from, I right now I'm working on a claim for a two-star general. So we've worked from two-star general to homeless. There's no, there's no criteria for your need.
Mhm.
So whoever, there's needs that vary from, regardless to your rank, regardless of where you serve, regardless to who you are, there are needs that you have that you don't know how to rectify. So you're absolutely right. Put and it's not about pride. I tell every veteran who comes in, because I had a gentleman that came in the other day. He said, well, I just, I don't really need it. I'm okay. And, they could help someone else. And I explained to him, I said, well, sir, you do understand that what you earned can't be divvied out amongst other folks if you choose not to use it.
Yeah.
It was you earned that, so I want you to get what you deserve,
Mhm.
and then from there you can do whatever you want with what you deserve.
Mhm.
But I to not even see what you're entitled to, I think is a sad, because sometimes, and you're absolutely right about pride, especially in the military. You know, we have folks who come in and they may be dressed in a suit or not, but before any vet leaves our center, my general manager will sit down with them to find out, did you get everything that you needed taken care of today? And, we even ask, do you need anything? Soap, toothpaste, shampoo, you never know based on what someone looks like. And far and beyond, more often than not, regardless of what they look like, there's always something personal that they need. And we do have a great closet, what we call a lending closet, that has toiletries and things like that, that most vets, including myself, because we are a prideful people, would
Mhm.
not go stand in a line to request for,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's just how we're built. So if someone told me, okay, go stand in this food line over here, we're going to give you food, I'm not saying that I wouldn't go, but it would be a blow to my
Yeah.
pride as a vet, because I feel that I'm the one protecting these people and now they're having to support me. And that's not how we were trained to be as veterans and then soldiers.
So the way you guys can think about this is, okay, so when you go to Charlotte Douglas Airport or Boston Logan or any of the major airports and they have a USO, and you go into the USO and you're like, oh my God, I forgot my toothbrush. And they got toothbrush, they got toothpastes, they got all kinds of stuff, and you don't hesitate. You don't hesitate to take the toothbrush because they're built there to help you in transit. That's how you need to think of Waypoint. But instead of
Yes.
just having sandwiches and cookies and video games, which is comfortable for the whole family, I've used USO so many times in travel with my family.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to provide you with more personal individual care, more private individual care. So nobody's going to know your business. They're not going to know you needed a bar of soap, and that on the outside your home and your grocery cabinets look okay, but you're really struggling with your bills. Nobody's going to know. I mean, if you have to, you could say you're going to volunteer to help someone else, but they're like your personal USO. You're going to go and
You're absolutely right.
yeah,
You
just
summed it up very well. And that's exactly right. And, because of that, and I'm so excited because, we've only been open a little over a year, to have serviced that many veterans in a little over a year. It's phenomenal for me. I didn't expect to do that in the first year of being open, but I'm so glad that, number one, that we are there, and I'm so glad that we were able to help, because sometimes it's about just not knowing. And I tell them all that come in, coming here, we're going to do everything we can. It doesn't guarantee that you're entitled to anything or funding wise, but if for no other reason, if you served in the military and has a DD 214, we know that you're eligible for medical care. So you may not know. You may be going to a doctor paying bills right now when you're eligible for medical care in one of the local CBOCs. So even just the knowledge of knowing what you're entitled to at this present, they come for that reason. Wives come, children come. We didn't know that we would need our Gold Star moms outreach services in the center. When they wanted to partner with us and come into the center, we said, okay, great. Don't know how much business you'll get, but we've had 7 veterans who've expired in this year that the Gold Star moms were able to assist with, transitional needs as far as that's concerned. So, you never know what services are going to be needed, but then when you put them there, everyone is used. So in our center in Griffin, we have financial management, we have educational services, we have employment services, emergency funding services, we have housing, we have claims and benefits, we have general counseling. We also just have things like once a month, the Lions Club comes and do free eye screening and exams. Once a month, we will have someone who will come in and they will do like a free meal for veterans for that Friday. So there's additional services that come in that are just enhancing what we do. But we're so proud of that fact, that the community is saying, "Hey, can you use this?" And what's really cool is right now we have 14 volunteers, including myself in the center, and we've been working this for over a year, and we do not receive any funding for it. We operated last year on a budget of $12,000, and we saw over 1,900 veterans.
Wow. So how can
Yes.
how can the how can people help?
Well, one, we are always willing to accept funding. So if someone wants to donate to our service center, we're getting our website together now, but I can give you the address. They can send a check to DSP II. That would be awesome, and we can send it to the service center if they want to donate products or skincare or toothpaste or soap or blankets. They can do that as well. We don't take as many clothing because we don't have a clothing closet, but
Hmm.
we do have those basic personal needs.
Hmm.
Public brings bread and pastries by every Tuesday. So
Okay.
we send out bread and pastries to our veterans. So those are the kind of things that we receive in this center here, and it really helps offset the things that veterans need and offset the cost.
So you for the most part, you need money and you need
Yes.
personal care items.
Yes.
Now, listen, y'all, this is important, and this is something that we've all been learning about during the hurricane season. So there are articles and blogs out there that talk about um, donations, wrong donations that are coming into these organizations. They want to help and they're very appreciative, but um, there are certain donations that aren't needed. And so we're going to be very specific. At this time, DSP II really needs money. They need cash. With the hurricanes that have come about recently, there has been an outcry from organizations that are accepting donations, and basically they're appreciative of donations, but they're really needing specific donations, not a lot of clothing. This is no different. DSP right now needs money. They need cash, and they also need personal care items. Um, Clothing is great, but right now they don't have the community doesn't really need clothing so much, and because they're not a thrift store, they don't have a means to liquidate that clothing asset into cash. So if you want to donate, please feel free to tap below. This is on YouTube. Please tap below and look in the narrative for the link where you can reach out to Sandra Brownlee and her team and find out how you can give them money. They need cash. Every little bit counts. So if you have $5, if you have $500, they'll take it. If you're a large organization, please, please, please reach out to her and tell her how much you want to provide, because that money, it goes into so many different areas of their organization. Um, Many of them aren't getting paid. So the money is not being misappropriated, and they have large numbers of veterans that they have helped on very little. So just imagine how many other people that they can help with more funding. And then personal care items, because you never know who's going to walk up the street and need something for a shower, or they need toothbrush or toothpaste or lotion or hair products. Um, so pay that in mind when you want to donate, please. Money and personal care items.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. And you're right. It doesn't matter about the size of the donation. People come in, they donate a $5 or a dollar or $500. There's any money that comes, and will reemphasize that none of us get paid. These are folks who are veterans or veteran related. We have a couple of moms and a couple of wives in there. And these are folks who come every day to that building to service our vets as if we get paid, and none of us do. So, my of course my goal in life is to make sure that eventually I can compensate these guys because these are guys who could do other things with their life. They're retired. They could be doing what they want to, but they chose to be a part of this organization and come out and make sure that the veterans that we service get taken care of. And I will tell you that it's just not organic to Griffin. We have serviced veterans from Alabama, South Carolina, Pennsylvania. I had a vet that called me from Canada. They've come from Florida, Alabama. So I'm very grateful the word is getting out and people are coming in from all over, not just from Georgia. But because of that, I will tell you the great news because of that. I now have 3 additional rural communities who wants me to initiate a service center in their community.
That is
So,
outstanding. So now
yes,
you guys might be national very soon.
that is my intention. I'm part of Congressman Drew Ferguson, who's our 9th district congressman here in Georgia. He put together a veterans liaison task force team of 14 veterans, general officers, command officers, and sergeant majors and master sergeants. And he um, invited me to Congress 3 weeks ago, and I met with him and some other dignitaries to just talk about what we were doing in the community here. And actually, they honored one of the veterans that we had serviced at a Hope for the Warrior banquet by helping her. She went from homeless, suffering from military sexual trauma, to now she has a job. She has her own home in the community. She volunteers at the center. It was a great turnaround for her, and they honored her at the Hope for the Warriors banquet in D.C. So it was a great time to sit down with Congressman Ferguson there, and it was also a great time to honor one of our veterans that we had serviced. So I'm very excited about that. And I will tell you that I am a partnership with the VA as far as being a rural community environment that can assist veterans. So I am happy to say the VA do refer folks to our center for assistance. So because of that, LaGrange, my hometown, I'm now working in that community to establish a Veterans Waypoint Service Center. And that service center will actually have housing included.
Mm-hmm.
The space they want to offer has 28 rooms in it that we are going to convert to temporary housing while we service these veterans. And then the second one is in Milan, Georgia. It's south of where we are, about 2 hours south towards the Florida coast. But that's an entire youth detention center that we're going to convert to a veteran service center. So the word is getting out. We're doing something right, and people are recognizing that it's a valuable service in their community by being able to help their veterans.
That is awesome. That is absolutely wonderful. So tell us how, if you can share 3 to 4 pieces of advice that we can all use today, what would they be?
First is be who you are. Do not waver from who you are. No matter what you're attempting to accomplish, starting your own business, be who you are and who you intend to be forever. So you don't have to change who you are to do something good, and you don't have to change who you are to make something happen if that is what your calling is to do. I tell people all the time, I think it's nothing more awesome than waking up every morning knowing that you're walking in the calling that you were called to do. That's an awesome feeling, number one. And number two, you have to be persistent. I was talking with the mayor. He had introduced me to someone in the community the other day, and he said, listen, when she came to town and talked about what she was going to do for veterans, I said, good luck with that in my head. This is his words to me and the person I'm meeting. He said, I said to myself, good luck with that. And he said, here she is a year later, and if she asks me to do something, I just say, yes, ma'am, because she is not going to stop until she gets what she wants. So you have the ability. So be persistent, be strong. And I will tell you the third thing, and this I think is probably the most profound statement, is I believe that this is the time where women need to stand up and show exactly what you're capable of doing. And it's the time for us to show that. And I'm very excited about putting myself out there without fear of repercussion or fear of someone not believing or fear of someone not caring. None of that matters. I know what I'm doing is a good thing, and I'm going to do it. And like I told the commissioners, listen, whether you give me the building or not, it will not stop me from doing what I do. I can go right back to the Dunkin' Donuts. So either way.
I love everything you just said. Honestly, one, if you are not who you are, you're going to be miserable. And I think it's a common plague amongst all new entrepreneurs because you want to make money, you want to serve your community, you want to do all these wonderful things, and you will always have someone telling you you can't do this because you're acting like that or whatever the case may be. And you will go so much further. You'll be so much more comfortable with yourself if you're just you. Period. If you
Yes,
have like 1,000 tattoos, if you have one, if you swing off of branches, if you're in church, whatever you do, incorporate some of who you are into what you do because your business is your child, and every child is kind of like their parent. And then just be you. You'll enjoy it so much better, and there's always somebody who's going to like you the way you are. I think that's a big worry when you first start a business. Is anybody going to like me? I don't want people to see too much of me because they're not going to like me. And trust me, there is a crowd out there who's looking for just you,
yeah,
you know. And then the other thing I'm excited about is you're right. Nowadays, I'm so happy to be in this day and age. I'm so happy to be in 2017 as a woman veteran.
I
Um,
tell you,
People sometimes they're like, "Oh, if you ever went back in the past, where would you go?" And I'm like, "I wouldn't go back in the past. Why would I do that?" Um, why? Because this is the time when women are making big steps in business. We're making big steps in our community, and women have always paved the way for different things. But I think we're really starting to pick up momentum, and we have such camaraderie amongst the women entrepreneurial community. Yes, there's competition, but it's like a good competition. Like, look, I'm gonna give you this information, like my supplier or whoever's funding me, and I want you to do well, and we're gonna help each other. I'm still competing against you, though. I'm gonna work harder.
exactly. But see, that's the cool thing about women who are about their business. It's okay for you to have your own. I'm going to support you in your own. I
Mhm.
want you to do well because if you do well, you're going to tell people that I wanted you to do well, which is
Mhm.
in turn going to benefit me. I've never felt a sense of, and people say all the time, well, are they doing this anywhere else? And I said, well, I don't know. I don't really care. Don't they do this? And I said, I don't know. I don't really care. I mean, if they are, then good. Everybody should be. We'll get more people served. I mean, I've only served 1,900 people out of the state of Georgia, but there's 1.8 million, no, 2.3 million veterans that live here. So if there's more people out here doing what I'm doing, then we'll get them all.
Well,
You have to understand who you are and stay claiming in who you are. That way, you don't have time to worry about what someone else is doing.
the big secret is customers, and if you think about yourself, you want variety. So with more variety comes more customers, comes more clientele, comes more notice because they're like, oh, there's several choices I can make. Let me
You
choose the one
got it.
that's right for me. And then the second thing is sometimes you need someone else who's doing the exact same thing as you because you're too busy. And so you got to send that
Right.
to somebody else. You're like, look, I can't handle another interview. I can't handle another order. I'm up to my eyeballs. And instead of that person going away disgruntled, like they couldn't even help me, you could say, look, I know of someone who can help you. Let me give you
You
their phone
got it.
number. I'll call them and let them know you're on your way. The person is absolutely happy that they're getting help. They may be sad that they're not getting help from you, but you recommended one of your colleagues, and now they're like, oh, this must be great. What
Yes.
it'll come back. It's like a boomerang.
Yes. And what's so cool about that whole piece is that, like I tell people, I say, listen, my service centers, I'm not I'm not a service, but I do know how to bring organizations together. And I said, that's what we need. Instead of you, and like I shared with the last conference I had down at the Mental Health Summit at the VA, I said, listen, you're one individual service, but just based on the veterans that I've seen over the past year, no one comes with just one individual need.
Mhm.
So if they need their claim, they also may need funding. They may also need a place to stay, or they may need this. No one has just, that's just all I needed today. It hasn't happened in my center yet.
Mhm.
So with that being said, if I can put multiple services and give you a place in that center, number one, you get a target audience. You can help more people. And then what you can't do, you now just refer them next door versus across town.
Yes. But that what you're offering is a service. to bring people, to bring compatible organizations and compatible people and compatible different services together so you can serve one person or a million people in one place. That is a service.
Yes.
It's a convenience based world today. And, regardless if you have a job or not, or if you're a mom or not, or whatever your situation is, you don't want to have to spend your pennies driving across town. And you'll lose people that way. Folks will be like, well, I'll go tomorrow and never make it.
You're
So
absolutely right. You're
I'm one of those
absolutely correct.
people. I'm one of those
You're
people.
right. I had a kid
I'll
that
go
came in.
tomorrow. You
He
just
came
won't make
in. We had a kid that came in over the summer, back in the June, July time frame,
it.
and he had his 11-year-old daughter with him. He was a vet. He was receiving 70%, and he came in because they were talking about deducting his or reducing his benefits. So he was worried about that, but he was also worried because his daughter could not get in school because she couldn't get the physical. She didn't have the money for the physical.
Hmm.
And oh, by the way, there was a $230 light bill, and he lived in a trailer with his 12-year-old daughter.
Oh.
So when he comes in, the first thing we do is I sit him down. What's so awesome about the center, we have VSOs that actually work in the center. So to sit him down with a VSO who could actually go into the system, track what's going on, rectify his problem, which we were able to do, and it was a matter of a simple form. It's what it was, which we were able to supply to the claims and benefits and things that was taken care of. And while he was doing that, I had my housing director call one of our partnerships with one of the local VFWs for them to pay the $230 light bill. And oh, by the way, I had my receptionist call down to the health department, and they gladly did the child's physical for free because he was a veteran. So he got his light bill taken care of. His daughter got her physical so she could start school, and we fixed his claim. And it took all about maybe 45 minutes.
And he will forever be grateful for that. Forever.
He comes I promise you, Rolande, he comes every Friday. That's his volunteer day.
Wow.
Every Friday. Mm-hmm.
So how can we reach you? How can our audience reach you and your organization and either volunteer or take part in your services?
So you can reach us. We have our office is located at 232 East Broad Street. That's in Griffin, Georgia.
Hmm.
And that's 30223. That's 232 East Broad Street, Griffin, Georgia. 30223. Or they can call us. Our office number is 770-415-0859. Or they can actually call 770-731-5563.
All right.
Any of those numbers, and that's the address to the center, and they can reach us by any means that way. Yes.
Great. So you
We
guys.
also have a Facebook page, Waypoint Griffin, and we're working on we just, believe it or not, we were just donated a website. So we have one of our guys actually building our website. So I'm so excited about that.
That is important too. That is so
Yes.
important. Good for whoever donated and realizing the importance of that. And thank you from Butter Angels and beyond because I'm one of those people. If you say you have a business, I'm looking at your website. I'm trying to find it.
Yes, yes
So
indeed.
that's awesome. Okay, so you guys heard it from the CEO herself, Master Sergeant retired Sandra Brownlee, the CEO of Waypoint, and reach out to her. If you're in the area, volunteer. If you want to start uh, an outpost in your area, regardless if you're in Georgia or Canada or California, call her, let her know, and work together so you guys can help more veterans in small towns because having to drive 30 and 40 miles just so you can go to the VA, it's frustrating. And with VA
Yes,
appointments, they are long. You have to wait months and months and months and months so you can speak to somebody for 30 minutes. It's really frustrating and costly. So
yes.
let's help this spread. And thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're doing an amazing service. And for 12 months in business, you're doing awesome. Your numbers are impressive. So keep it up.
Thank you. I'm so, number one, it was an honor to speak with you today. It was so much fun. So
Yeah.
thank you for that. I look forward to us continue to communicate with each other and keep in touch. I definitely look at some of your products. They look amazing. So I want,
Yeah.
something to do with that. And I will share this with you. November 10th, which
Hmm.
is a Friday, we have every year we do an annual day of service. So we did our first one last year, and
Hmm.
it's free services, entertainment, food. Veterans come out, have a good time, get some things that they need. We have 3 attorneys on board who are going to do power attorney and wills for veterans. We have a optometrist who's going to write out prescriptions for eyeglasses. We have the Army truck coming. We have, local, folks who singers and artists, and it's just going to be a great day. We saw in our first year last year, we saw about 700 veterans that came through the center, and I just know this year is going to be a lot bigger. So if there's anyone in the local area who wants to come out, be a part, be a vendor, or just come and enjoy the festivities, November 10th, it starts at 10 till 4. Please come out and help us just enjoy veterans and supporting what we do.
Send me some graphics so I can go ahead and share that on my media. Um, I'd like to share it starting next week, so maybe you can have a few other people come and partake.
I will do that. I will send you the flyer, and
Okay.
so that you can have that. Yes,
Thank you, thank you. So you guys have the information. You know how to contact her, and please don't hesitate to volunteer if you're in the area. Thank you so much, Master Sergeant Brownlee. Um, you have been such a great service to our community. You have a great day.
you are awesome, and thank you so much.